Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of another weekly reading vlog, and this week once again I don't know what I'm reading. I know what I'm in the mood for. I mentioned it at the end of last week's reading vlog that I'm honestly in the mood for either the Sean Maguire book that I've got on my TBR for the month or a cozy sci-fi. Like, that is what I would really like to read. So we're gonna see if it works, because the whole of this month I have been playing Leandra's TBRathon. I am taking part in 2 different versions of it. The main version that is deciding what I read is Paws and Bookshelves, which if you saw last week's vlog you would know that just went haywire. I got the worst rolls possible and my TBR went out the window. So I don't know if this week's rolls is actually going to, one, progress me out of the board, because we're on week 3 and I'm only up to here. It's been a time, and also whether it'll even fit with the 4 books I've got left to read from my TBR. So I guess we'll find out. The other one I'm taking part in is the Booktuber Bingo, which is where a bunch of booktubers all gave different prompts to use, and the idea is just to get as many bingos as possible. I am actually on this bingo board and I have not even been able to put in a prompt for me yet, like a book for me yet. Hopefully we can make some progress. I did make progress last week. I actually filled in 2 squares, which I was really pleased with, and there are technically 2 others that I can fill, but I'll go through that during the wrap up of all of this, because they're not books I've been talking about in my weekly reading vlogs, because they are for other things. But yeah, we're gonna see what progress I can make, and hopefully I can get some of these prompts to work with what I want to read, but I guess we're gonna find out. But before we get into that first roll, I hope you're all doing really well, and let me know what you've been up to, if you've been taking part, and what progress you've been making. But okay, I need to stop delaying and just see if we're gonna have a nice game or a mean game like last week. At the end of last week we finished on recent buy. Honestly, I don't even know what I'm hoping for in this game anymore, so let's just roll and see what we get. A 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any Books of Paradise prompt. Okay, that's the other board game, so let's go have a look at what those prompts are. After looking at the prompts of Books of Paradise, which Books of Paradise is a map. This is the 3rd version of TBRathon that you can do, and this is for people that prefer to mood read, that just kind of want to jump around, a bit more low-key. So for this one, I am going to go with Chronicle Cruise, so C, which is continue any series, because that also goes with what I was wanting to do from last week, because in last week's video I did land on 2025 goal, and originally I had that for Rainy's series challenge and I ended up using a reread for it, but I really don't want to use rereads for that challenge. You can, I just don't want to. So I said I would try and combine it if I was able to with this week's prompt, which is easy to do because the challenge that Rainy is doing, her bingo board for the year, is all about continuing series. Which is great for my TBR for the month, because I have 3 books that are all continuing series, which is amazing. So we have A Closed Uncommon Orbit, which is the 2nd book in a series, so that would tick off that prompt if I wanted to. We have The Prisoner's Throne, which would finish a series, and then we have Mislaid in Parts Half Known, which is the 9th book in a series, so we would just be generically continuing on. I was in the mood for these 2 books this week. Initially, at the very start of this month, I had plans to do a cozy sci-fi reading vlog, which I've just not been able to do until now. So that is what we're gonna do. This week is going to be cozy sci-fi. Hopefully it continues that way, because if I finish this book earlier in the week, then I will do another roll, and then we'll just see, and hopefully it continues and I can get the other sci-fi book that I have on my TBR onto this for the week. We may not though. We're at least starting off with a cozy sci-fi, which I'm really happy about. This one is, as I already mentioned, the 2nd book in a series. The 1st book is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and in that one we are following a bunch of different characters that are all on this ship called the Wayfarer, and the Wayfarer makes tunnels through space, kind of like making shortcuts through space. But this particular tunnel that they're having to make is a very politically charged situation, and they're kind of stuck in the middle of it all, and it brings different kind of dangers and stuff to the ship, kind of like found family. You get to meet loads of different characters, lots of different species, lots of different worlds that we get to go to. Like, I really enjoyed that book when I read it, and that was in March of 2024, and I've been meaning to continue since then. So I'm really pleased that I finally get a chance to do that with this book. However, I cannot tell you much about this book because one of the main characters we're following in this book is a spoiler for the ending of the first book, so I can't give you that. Now, this book is not following the same main characters we had in that first book. Instead, we're following side characters of the first book, which I'm really happy with because we get to explore more of this universe that Becky Chambers has created. I really like these two particular characters, so I'm really intrigued to see where this is going to go, but I cannot tell you which one of the perspectives is. One I can say, which is Pepper, who is an engineer that we meet in the first book, and she runs kind of like this, well, workshop, I guess. This book is split into two different timelines. We have the current timeline, which begins during the final events of A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, hence why I cannot give you any information about it because I do not want to spoil it. But the past timeline, that begins approximately 20 solar years prior. A lot of this book I won't be able to say too much on, but I can at least give you my thoughts and feelings of it, and I'm really excited to continue with this. Like I said, at the start of this vlog, at the end of last week's vlog, I'm really in the mood for a cozy sci-fi, and I've been wanting to do my cozy sci-fi reading vlog, so I'm pleased the game was nice to me and it finally worked. That's what we're going to be reading this week. I am really tired this evening, so I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done. I was planning to edit, but I don't have the mental capacity to sit there and edit today, so I think I'm just going to do a really easy dinner and just chill out, maybe read a little bit, but I think I'm going to end up going to bed really early. And considering I'm already going to bed early for my early shifts, I mean, we're talking like I'm thinking of going to bed at 8:30 and I'm really excited for it. So I'm probably going to have a really early night, but hopefully we can at least start, maybe read like the first 40 pages or something and just get started in this book. I can't even give you who we're first following because I just can't. But I'm so excited. I'm genuinely so excited for this. I'm really excited to continue. And this was on my 25 to read in 2025. So we've doubled up on the 2025 goal, which is great. Well, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to get to, well, relaxing, and I'll catch up with you soon. Loads of A Closed Uncommon Orbit. I did mean to. We know that I meant to. I originally meant to, well, when I first started this video, take the evening off from editing and just relax and read my book. And I did take the evening off from editing, but I did not read my book. Well, I read 15 pages. Instead, I decided to set up my reading journal for February. And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I ended up spending like almost 2 hours setting up the reading journal for February, and I had so much fun with it. I'm going to show you one small part of it. So I'm taking part in Get a Clue, which is a month-long readathon that's hosted by Rady, but I am one of the co-hosts. I decided to do a spread dedicated to it. So we have empty page here for all the prompts because we don't know what the prompts are going to be yet. We've got a room from On the Board because it's based on the board game Clue, or if you're in the UK, Cluedo. And then I created a little card for all the different suspects, weapons and rooms so that we can tick them off as we receive them as clues when we complete our reading prompt to try and guess who the actual murderer is. And honestly, I'm really pleased with it. I did do the full month setup in this, not just this little bit, but I had so much fun doing the journal setup and doing the theme of a Cluedo board throughout it. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. Spent so much longer doing this than what I thought. It was pretty much time for me to go to bed, so I only read 15 pages. Yesterday, I don't know what this piece of hair is doing right now. We're just gonna leave that. But yesterday I did make some more progress, some better progress. I'm now up to page 71. These aren't broken up into chapter numbers, they're broken up into chapter names. Got 2 perspectives that we're following in this, although we do get some feed sources and things where we've got people talking on like the internet about different problems that they're having with either mechanical problems or problems to do with AI and script and code and all of this stuff. And then some of it is slightly different as well. I'm enjoying this book. Oh, it's so cozy and wonderful, and yeah, I'm really pleased that I read that. I couldn't read as much as I was going to because I needed to edit. Just like today, I'm going to be editing, finishing off last week's vlog, and then I will get to reading this. But I'm really liking it. I think it's really lovely. So the 2 perspectives that we're getting, one I've already said I can't really talk to you about, but I'm enjoying their perspective because at the end of the book, basically their whole world was turned upside down. They're now trying to adjust to the fallout of everything that happened, and it's so heartwarming and it's so interesting to see them having to deal with everything, and it's just so well done. I can't go into, I'm trying to be as vague as possible with that because I don't want any spoilers for this, but I'm really liking it. I just think it's so interesting. So they're with Pepper, and I really like seeing more of Pepper and Blue and a few of the other characters that we just met as side characters, and seeing this world. So we're at this one particular planet at the moment, and just seeing the different interactions, like all the different species and things. And I was a little bit concerned that it's been such a long time since I read the first book that I was going to be a little bit worried about will I be able to get back into everything, because it is such a complex universe. I'm so impressed with the amount of work Becky Chambers has done in nailing everything. Like every species has their own unique way of beliefs, the way they show love, respect, interact with one another, how all of them are just, the nuances are done so well between each and every species, which I love. I love how well thought out it is, but at the same time it's not info dumpy, and I really like it. It's just done in a way that I really connect to. I'm finding it really easy to get straight back into this world, and a lot of the mannerisms and things like I'm remembering as we go along, so actually having that longer gap isn't too much of a problem for me, which I'm liking. And then the other perspective we get is the perspective of Jane, and this perspective is so interesting to me. Like I'm really intrigued. It's almost like we're in a cult at the minute. It's really weird. So we're following Jane. Now Jane is one of many Janes. She is Jane 23. And what we're learning, it's slow, you get like a couple of pages every so often what is going on in this timeline, what's happening. We know it's a past timeline. Jane 23, she's with a group of girls and they're all of the same age. Now girls above them in age, so girls that are say 11 years old are called Marys, and then above them the girls that are 12 years old might be called Kates. And so they go through, it's almost like they're going through the alphabet really, but all the girls of that same age group are called the same name and then just given a number afterwards. And what you're slowly learning is that depending on your age depends on the role that you do. Jane is of the age of where they go through metal, different materials and technology and things, and they've got to sort out what is salvageable and what is trash. And Jane talks about the fact that when she was younger she would have to clean pieces, and that when they're older they will have to start using the pieces for whatever they're meant to be used for and things. And they have a very regimented life, and they have these mothers that look after them, and it's so unusual, and I'm really excited to see where that storyline goes. I'm actually not going to say much more about that storyline. Like it progresses a bit, but I don't want to go any further because obviously I don't want to give away spoilers and things, but I just thought it was really interesting. I'm really curious to see what is going on there, what happens to these girls, because it seems like the oldest girls are like, I think was it 12 or 13, and then you never see from these girls again. I'm like, what is going on here? So I'm really curious to see, do we ever find that out, or is it Jane 23 doesn't know what it is and she never finds out, so we never find out? Like I'm really curious. I really like that element that's added in. I like how there are these slightly darker bits to the story that's added in, but done in a way that's just, I don't know, I just really like it. I just think it's so interesting, and I'm liking it. The chapters are really quick to read, they're really bite-sized, and so it just feels like it's such a easy book to get through. But we do have it as one chapter is one character who I will not name, and then one chapter is Jane, and it swaps like this, and then every so often you will get like a feed source where it is them talking on the internet, or a download bit of information or something like that to break up the narrative, which I really like. I think it's good. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Didn't read as much as what I thought I would because got distracted, but I really like it. Now, one thing you would have seen is the bookshop. I went to a bookshop, so yesterday after work, I had a phone call to say that I had a book ready to collect at my local independent bookshop, which I love them so much, and they're just around the corner from me. Where I order everything, so if I'm doing any pre-orders, things like that, I always order it through them now. They're much faster, it's more personable, and also they have the same point scheme that Waterstones does, where if you spend £10, you get a stamp. If you get 10 stamps, you get £10 off, which I just think is awesome. But the book in question is Relight My Fire by C.K. MacDonald. This is the 4th book in the Stranger Times series, and I really like this series. You all know this, you know I've been talking about it for ages, and I decided to get myself a copy, but the paperback was coming out, well, now, and they said, well, do you want to just wait for that and we can pre-order it for you? And I was like, yeah, to be fair, I'm probably not going to read it anytime soon, so yeah, that's what I did. I also had a £10 voucher, so this was free. I'm really excited for this. If you don't know what Stranger Times is, it is a paranormal mystery series. The Stranger Times is a newspaper company, and they report on all the weird and unusual things like ghosts and aliens and things, because what if they're actually real? Love this series so freaking much. Really enjoy it. Very much looking forward to finishing out this series. So hopefully I can do it this year. That is the goal. I don't want to keep putting off this series. I really want to read it. I actually don't know if there's going to be another one after this. I think this might actually be the last one. That's kind of sad. C.K. MacDonald is an Irish author, and I just think he does brilliant work. I really enjoy it. But I can't believe it's actually going to be over. That's kind of sad. I'll have to double check that. But while I was there, I did see another book, and it was they have like a recommendations section. When you go in, you've got new hardbacks, then you've got a shelf of staff recommendations, and then you've got their fiction shelves, and it's all mixed in all together, all the different genres and stuff. And then they have a main table where they are highlighting certain novels. Normally I go to the highlight of certain novels first because I have found some gems there. This time there was a couple that caught my eye that I was interested in, but I wasn't sure. So then I decided to check the staff picks, and I saw this and I really liked what they had written on it. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna get it. What I then realised is this is actually a children's book written by Annette Schaap, who is one of Netherlands' best loved authors and illustrators. This one has been translated from Dutch by Laura Watkinson, and this one is a fairy tale short story collection. There are 7 tales in here, except it puts more of a spin on it of just different things. So let me show you. A wise girl stops trying to turn her frog into a prince. A fearless heroine comes face to face with a not so big bad wolf. A monstrous princess held captive on a deserted island resolves to break free. There are no damsels in distress in these 7 startling reimaginings of famous fairy tales. Only real girls of flesh and blood who certainly don't need saving. I read the first couple sentences. I haven't read a Dutch book before, so I'm really intrigued to see what I think. I'm really excited. So the fact that it's a children's book, or like middle grade for Americans, is interesting to me because I don't tend to read many, but I feel like maybe I can get into it with this sort of like fairy tale inspired stuff, because I do like that. And also I think it will help because it's a short story collection. So I'm really excited. I do have a plan for this year to do my seasonal short story, because I always have a seasonal TBR. And on my seasonal TBR, I always include one short story collection because I have loads of them to get through. Last year was all of Agatha Christie short story collections. I've now finished those. So this year I did want it to be fairy tales, and I had in mind what I wanted for autumn and what I wanted for spring, but I still wasn't sure on summer and winter. So this I think is going to be my summer pick, and then I just need to find a short story collection for winter to do with fairy tales. Now I do have a couple here that I could use, but if you have any recommendations of fairy tale collections, like fairy tale inspired books, things like that, then feel free to put those in the comments below that you think would be good for winter. I know that that's a long way off yet. I mean, technically we're in winter, but I mean end of 2025. Really excited for this, think it's going to be fun. And then I got home and I had a package waiting for me, and this is The Cat's-Saw Murder by Dolores Hitchens, and this is a book that I had on my wish list which Denise picked up for me. So thank you so much, Denise. This was part of my Christmas books where she got me 25 books for Christmas, and this one was a pre-order, so we've been waiting for this one to arrive and I finally have it. I'm so intrigued. This is actually a book that came to my attention because of Leandra, a detective story, prototypical early cat mystery written before the subgenre became a staple of cozy murder fiction. The Catsaw Murder is an entertaining and endlessly surprising whodunit with a focus on felines. Reissued for the first time in over half a decade, the book, originally published under the D.B. Oslin pseudonym, is the first in the long-running Rachel Murdoch series. Dolores Hutchins is recognised today as a pioneer of what would come to be known as domestic suspense. Very excited. So yeah, so it's like a classic cozy mystery. Sounds amazing. Really excited to read that. So thank you again to Denise for that. So yeah, I haven't read loads, but we did get 3 new books, which I'm very excited about. My plan today is edit and read some of this. I'm obsessed with oat milk hot chocolates at the minute. So I've been making those every evening. So I'm going to see if I've got enough oat milk left to make another one this evening. Honestly, I really do love it. It's really good. So I think once I finish editing, had my dinner and sorted all myself out and everything, I'm going to settle in with a hot chocolate and this book. I think it will be delicious. So yes, very excited for that. I think I made one in the last weekly reading vlog and like had it as b-roll and stuff, and oh, I just loved it so much. So much to the point where I did another one, put that in the b-roll of the cozy vlog. You know, is that going to become a staple for the rest of winter? Potentially. Are you going to see it every week? Who knows? But yeah, anyway, right, I'm gonna stop waffling on. This clip is like 17 minutes long. I'm gonna get on, do all the things I said I'm gonna do for like the 50th time and actually do it. I did very much enjoy my hot chocolate, and I have read quite a decent amount of A Closed and Common Orbit. I am now up to page 206, so I think I've got like 160-ish pages to go of this book. I'm just really enjoying it. It's really good. So far I have tabbed exactly one thing. This book, there is honestly quite a lot that I could annotate around this story because I just think some of the sentiments and things in this book are absolutely wonderful. But the one that I decided, you know what, I really want to mark this passage is actually talking about tattoos. I don't know, I just thought it worked really well and it was a really good sentiment towards it. So I personally love tattoos. I have several myself. There was just this comment. So we're following the perspective who I can't give you, but they're the one that are really struggling to kind of adjust to the new situation that's going on, and they come across this tattooist called Tak. And Tak is of the race of, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation, I'm sorry, but Arulians? Not sure how I'm meant to pronounce that again. I'm only reading this physically. I haven't heard any of these names said out loud. So Tak is from that race. They are a race of people where they go through changes, so they're very gender fluid. So for one instance, some of them may not associate with a gender at all. Some associate with being a woman, some associate with being male, some go through the cycles of changing, and it all gets really explained. And that's something I love about this universe, is just how well thought out Becky Chambers has done everything. I think I mentioned this already, or was thinking about mentioning it, but just how nuanced everything is. Every single species, you can tell there has been so much time and effort put into each one, really thinking about how their society works from all sorts of different things and their views and things. But yeah, so Tak, when we first meet her, is a woman. She is tattooing, and it's in this celebration. It is a Alulian celebration that is actually to do with, well, mating, because in their race they struggle to conceive quite a lot, and so it's very important to them, and they have a lot of certain, what word am I thinking of, almost rituals that they do to help it along. Like, it's a very fundamental part of their society. Also, the way they view childbearing, raising, everything, I think is really good. I really like it. That's some of the societal commentary which I like in this book, because there's loads of societal commentary in this work. Anyway, so our character, they meet Tak at this place. They see that they are tattooing, starting to learn about it, and they're asking, well, why do people get tattoos? And Tak says, so they give a few reasons, but one of the reasons that I liked is, you want a reminder of something, so you put it on your body where it's a real touchable thing. You see the thing on your body, you remember it in your mind, then you touch it on your body and you remember why you got it, what you were feeling then, and so on and so on. It's a reinforcing circle. You're reminded that all these separate pieces are part of the whole that comprises you. And I just thought that was really good. Also, if you can hear my cat meowing, she's just upset that I'm not in the same room as her. The doors are all open, she could happily come in here, but she doesn't want to. She just wants me in the other room. But yeah, so it was just this commentary about tattoos. A lot of people, obviously, I think in today's society, it's so much more common. There is still some of that stigma around tattoos, or like, oh, why have you done that? What's the point of that? And it's like, it's very individual for each person. Sometimes it's just as simple as, I wanted to, I was bored, I felt like it, and then sometimes it has more meaning and stuff. And I don't know, I just thought the conversation around it was really good in this book, and it ends up being a bigger part of the story, how someone's able to connect to their body. It makes a lot more sense when you know exactly what's going on in this way, but sometimes it's just a way for you to feel in control of what is yours, to feel connected to it. And I really like exploring that through tattoos in this, which I wasn't expecting, but I think it's really quite interesting. And the past timeline with Jane, that's got a lot more interesting. We're seeing Jane as she gets older, seeing her deal with different things, kind of going through puberty, and how slightly different that is for her, but also the emotional side of it is very relatable. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this book. I will say the first book has a lot more action to it, a lot more going on. You get a lot more different characters that you're meeting. In this book, the amount of characters that you have is a lot more contained. We are mainly just dealing with Pepper, Blue, Tak, and then Thou Who Shall Not Be Named. So you're only really getting those in this close circle, but it really works for the storyline. Oh, and Jane in the past timeline, but in the present timeline you've got the four, and it just works. It really, really works. I really enjoy it. I like all the connections between everything, and it just, yeah. Obviously, I don't want to give away spoilers and stuff. This is really nice. It's definitely more slower paced compared to the first book, but I really like it. And I also quite like that that first book you can read on its own, but in this one you just get a more of a closer focus in on these group of characters, and I really, really like it. I think this is really well done, and it makes me very curious to see the third book and who we're going to be following in that. I love it. I love learning about the different cultures and species. I love learning how well thought out, as I mentioned, and how they see different things. So like parenting is spoken about, how, and it was actually spoken about in the first book as well, how a lot of the species actually see parenting as a group effort. This is not something that somebody should tackle on their own. That is too much, too overwhelming for one single person to deal with, that it takes a community, and I really like that. I really like how talk about it. So like part of the race in here, the Illulian, so Tak's race, they talk about how the person that ends up being pregnant, like maybe they don't want to raise their own child, and that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The parenting system is really interesting. I really liked it. It was really interesting to learn. So yeah, I'm just loving this. I also love how art is a focus in here, not just through tattoos, but also Blue is an artist, and seeing the way he sees things is really good, and I just really like it. I'm really enjoying this book. That was a lot of waffling to literally go, I'm really liking this book. I don't know whether I'll be able to fit in another book or not, because we are on Friday. I have got quite a busy filming day planned. I've got 2 more updates I need to do, one for my cozy reading vlog, also to start another Battle of the Booktuber vlog. I want to get that done. I've also got a bigger just video to film for the 2nd of February, I think it's due out, is some cozy romance book. They're mainly like got elements of fantasy or paranormal, so I'm probably going to call it like a cozy romantasy, but there'll be a mixture of like, but it's mainly fantasy, which I think I already mentioned this in a previous point. So yeah, so I'm going to be filming that video today. I would like to get my TBR video edited because that's got to go up on Sunday. And then tomorrow is a full like editing day. Those are the next couple of days. So I'm thinking I should be able to finish A Closed and Common Orbit amongst all like the filming and the editing and stuff that I'm going to do, because I mean it literally breaks down to like 80 pages a day. And then I may wrap up this vlog on the Sunday to start another vlog rather than trying to squeeze in one book on Sunday, because my partner's coming around on Sunday. I don't know what time. We're just having like another chill in-house day where we just watch some anime and stuff, what we did last week, which was really nice. So I don't think I'm going to be reading loads on Sunday, depending on the time he comes over. And then I definitely want to make sure I'm reading Mislaid and Parts Half Known regardless. Probably on like Tuesday I want to get this book read. This is the one that voted on. It's in my TBR game. So every single month in my TBR game I have one prompt where I pick 2 different book options and let you choose what it's going to be. And this is that one for January. So I'm definitely going to be reading this one, and I'm really excited, and it's only short. Do that Tuesday because I don't have any plans for Tuesday. Probably again just be a mixture of some editing but also getting this read. Hopefully it fits in with the game, but that's all for like next week. That's the plan for then. But for now I've got loads of filming to do, and then I'm going to read this. Obviously if I get a really good reading mojo on and I end up finishing all of this, then I will probably go into Mislaid and Parts Half Known tomorrow, which then between editing and stuff I may get it done. Who knows? I also really want to bake a cake today. I'm feeling like baking another lemon drizzle cake. I've really been craving it and I really enjoyed that cake. I also picked up Animal Crossing for the first time in ages a few days ago, and I really enjoyed it. I had restarted this island and was really getting into it. Was like, I'm going to do it slowly, do bits and bobs, and then I got ill and so behind in everything that I then haven't picked up that game in like 8 weeks, and I'm still at the beginning stages. Like I'm still getting the first 3 houses ready for people to move into, like right at the very start of the game. So I really want to get back into that as well. So I'm kind of giving myself options that, depending on what I feel like doing, I may end up playing a bit of Animal Crossing, I may finish this. Like that's something I have been enjoying, is taking my time with having one physical read in these vlogs has been great, because it has given me extra time to, one, do the other vlogs without feeling stress and the pressure of needing to get loads read for every single video, but also giving myself time to do other things, like the other day with setting up the reading journal and things like this, and just taking a break has been lovely to do. But sometimes that reading mood just hits me and I just want to sit there and devour the book. So I don't know, so I'm leaving myself open to see whether it's going to be reading, maybe reading and Animal Crossing, or what, I don't know. We'll see. For now, filming. I need to change this battery. Good thing I spotted that before we did all the other filming bits. Change the battery, do the filming, bake a cake, edit one video, chill out, either read or whatever. That is the plan for today. See how it goes. Look a little bit frazzled, it is because I've spent the morning helping my sister rearrange her furniture in her bedroom, so my old bedroom. So I went over to my mum's, spent the morning there, which was nice to see everyone briefly, and then me and my sister went out for lunch, which she bought for me as a thank you for helping her move around all this furniture. Honestly, it was good. I love organising things anyway, so I was more than happy to do it. But I am really close to finishing A Closed and Common Orbit. I literally have 50 pages left to go. So I know I'm definitely going to finish this. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've got a little bit of editing to do. I managed to do a little bit before I went out this morning. So I just need to finish that. And then while it's exporting, I know I'm going to be able to finish this book. And I'm still going to want to read something this afternoon or like this evening. And I've got a couple of options, but I thought the best thing to do would be to do another roll for Paws and Bookshelves and see what can work for the rolls, I guess. Before we get into the rolls though, I am still really liking this book. I do like the fact that we are focusing on the smaller group of characters. I like the fact that there isn't as much plot. Like, it does feel very different to the other book. The cozy vibes are still there. The really amazing universe building that's been going on is still there. Obviously, where the first book was a bit more expansive, a bit more going on, it felt a little bit more higher stakes in places. This is different. This is a slower paced book, lower stake, just like a super focused look at these characters, and I really like it. I think it works really well. I'm just loving it. I know that this 50 pages is not going to take me long to read at all. I'm just flying through it. Really like it. I like how both the past timeline and what's happening in the present, it's like starting to converge, and I just think it's really good. It's really good if you want a more in-depth look at these select characters. I think it works really, really well for it, and also about finding yourself, and just I think it's great. I love it. Cannot wait to finish it. So let's go to another role. Am I a little bit apprehensive? Yes, because you know what, this game, I don't know how it's gonna go, but I mean, judging from what's in front of us, there's nothing too bad. As long as we don't get this one in the corner. I'm just trying to avoid this corner because then that drops me all the way back to here. And I've already had to climb up once from going back. So hopefully we miss that. That's the only square I want to miss. Anything else? I actually think the rest of these are pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what we get. As we know, the last prompt we landed on is the Any Books of Paradise prompt. And let's see what we get. 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh, that was so close. I honestly thought we were gonna land on that. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Okay, any bingo prompt. Let's have a look at what I've got left on the bingo board. That roll went pretty well. I'm quite pleased with the prompt that we got. So the prompt is any bingo prompt, which is great. Also, look how close we are to the end. I'm so excited. I'm really hoping that next week we can finish this out. I've just got to be careful because there is still a TBR where we could end up going down. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully we actually finish out this game. We're gonna find out next week if that happens, but for now, let's see what bingo prompt works with either of these two. This is kind of what I'm thinking I would like to read. As I mentioned, Mislaid in Parts Half Known, and then also I would like to finish Solo Leveling Volume 4. I haven't read this. This is the bookmark of where the TV episode is up to, but we're going to be watching the next episode tomorrow, so I will then be able to finish this full volume out. These two books is kind of what I'm hoping for, but let's have a look at the bingo board and see where we are. I actually have 3 more bingo prompts filled in than what we see here, so I'm going to quickly put them in just so we can see where we're at. I wasn't putting them in because these are 3 ebooks that I have read in the background to these videos, so I haven't been talking about them. 2 of them I can't talk about at all, and 1 you're seeing in the cozy new releases video, so that's why I was keeping quiet on them. But I have completed Bree's prompt of LGBTQ plus representation, Aofi's prompt of purple on the cover, and Marianne's prompt of new to you author. So I have completed those 3. A closed and common orbit I'm actually going to put in for my prompt of a cozy read because this is a cozy sci-fi. Now I don't think I'm actually going to be able to get a bingo because I don't really have a genre blend left on my TBR. Don't have, well, I might be able to do genre blend maybe if it fits in next week. A spooky TBR backlist of 2+ years. None of my January TBR fits that. A Canadian author, again, I don't think is on my current January TBR anyway. So I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be able to get a bingo. I have possibilities of getting bingos, but I don't think I'm actually going to be able to. So we're just going to see what these can fit for. I don't know. Because the ones that are left, we have a Die Decides, so I could just do odds and evens on this. Middle grade, which I don't want to read. I'm not really a middle grade person. A beloved author, which, you know what, Shauna Maguire is a beloved author because Shauna Maguire and their pen name Mira Grant, I do want to keep reading their book. Most recent addition to the TBR, doesn't work. Same with the Latinx author. Pickpon Decides, Horror Read, A Manga You're Dying to Try. Well, it's not one I'm trying, it's one I'm continuing, plus this is manhwa. Sports Romance, Read Some Trash, Pet Pick, Strong Woman Protagonist, Historical Fiction, Naughty's Novel. That's what we've got left. I think out of these 2, I think we're actually going to go for Rainy's prompt of beloved author and go with Mislaid in Parts Half Known. And we'll just see how much of this I read. Now, will I be able to finish the whole thing out? Honestly, maybe, because I'm probably going to start a new vlog on Tuesday because Monday I'm actually really busy. So I have been doing them Monday to Monday lately, which I've been enjoying. See, I could have decided, I could have either have just finished this today and wrapped up the vlog tomorrow, but I know I want to read something else today. I say that, I bet you I don't even read it. So that's why I'm thinking I would like to start this. I could either wrap up the vlog once I've finished this and started a bit of this, and then start a new vlog with finishing this book, then doing one more roll, and hopefully that'll be our last roll for Paws and Bookshelves. Or I could push it. Yeah, you know what, let's do that. Let's do that. We'll just see how much of this I get read this evening. I'm probably not going to be able to finish it this evening, but we'll just see how much I get read. Saying that, I mean, it's not a long book. It's 140 pages from the looks of it. So it's not too long, but I don't think I'm going to read what is essentially 190 pages today. I don't think that's going to happen. I will definitely be finishing this, and then I will read however much I read of this. But yeah, okay, bingo prompt. We'll go with Rainey's for a beloved author. Do that. I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything else. At this point, we're just trying to see how many squares I can fill, which I should be able to fill. Once I've done Rainey's, I think I could fill maybe one more. And to be fair, I should actually be able to fill a second one. Let me see. Wait! Oh my god! Okay, I can't. Oh, wait, okay, this changes everything. Hang on a minute. So I do have a Canadian author. I actually am reading an ebook. Canadian author. That's amazing. Okay, that will definitely be finished before the end of January. So that will be ticked off. So then I can do a spooky TBR backlist of 2+ years and get in that final bingo. That's what I need next week's prompt to be. It means that the last couple of books on my TBR for January is not getting read. We need a book that is 2 years or more. We'll have a look at that tomorrow. Tomorrow when I wrap up this video. So next week's video is going to be a book that is it's 2+ years on my TBR, and also incorporating one of these prompts so we can get at least one bingo. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, so we're gonna go with today's bingo. We're going with cozy read for me. We're gonna finish this. We're gonna start this one, which is Rainey's prompt of a favorite author or beloved author. Next week's vlog, we will finish this and finish out a bingo and hopefully finish Paws on Bookshelves. I'm gonna have a look at what I've got as potential books for that bingo prompt so that I can have a selection to see what works with these prompts. Maybe I can actually have a look at what's been on my TBR for 2+ years and see what ones would work for this, so I have an idea of what I'm going to be reading next week. I think I'm going to go do that. Then I'm going to make a hot drink, sit down, edit the last bit of my video, and then yeah, then we're just going to chill, because I am feeling like a proper chill afternoon. I mean, by the time I get to reading, it's just going to be an evening spent reading, relaxing, playing a bit of Animal Crossing. I did pick it up yesterday, which was fun. I didn't film any of it, but I really enjoyed just having a little play on my Switch. I finally have some new characters, which is great. I actually finished off the last bit of one of the houses I need to do as well, so I'm getting close to finishing out the bits that you're meant to do at the intro of the game. Anyway, right, okay, I'm waffling on. I've got plenty to do. I'm gonna start prepping to see what fits for this, ready for next week, and go from there. But okay, you know what? This week, the game's been really good to me, so I cannot complain. It's made up for last week, so that's amazing. Looking so dark and overcast today. I think it's meant to be really crap weather, so hopefully I don't need to go out at all. But okay, it is Sunday morning. It is time to wrap up this vlog, and oh my gosh, I got so close to finishing Miss Slade and Parts Half Known, but I'm going to get into that in a second, because before I finish that, I did finish A Close and Common Orbit, and I really enjoyed this one. I think if you're looking for something that is more cozy than A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, this is the book for you. it works really well because you can read A Long Way to a Small Open Planet like a standalone. Like there's a few loose ends there, but it's not too bad. Like you could read it if you wanted to as a standalone. I'm really pleased that I went into this book knowing that this was not going to be like the first book and that we weren't following the exact same characters, because it then made me kind of, I don't think I would have been disappointed if I hadn't known that going into this, but I think I would have been a bit wondering where certain characters were in this book because we don't see them at all. But I think it worked really well. I really liked that more focused look on these select characters. I just thought it was really cozy, really heartwarming, more slow paced, definitely nowhere near as action heavy as the first book, but I think it worked really well. And this is a series I can see myself just kind of like picking and choosing which book I want to read out of the series when it comes to a reread, rather than feeling like I need to reread all the books in order to understand everything. You literally could just pick and choose. Granted, the first time you read it, you should read it in order because it will make a lot more sense, but I think on reread, they're different enough that I don't feel the need that I would have to read 1 to then read 2. I could definitely just jump into 2 because it feels like a story on its own, even though it does on one of the timelines follow the events of that first book. It's separate enough. I don't know, I don't think I'm making any sense. Maybe somebody will understand what I'm trying to say, but basically I really liked this book. I thought it was really heartwarming and wholesome, definitely more cozy, which is, I didn't think was possible, but is possible. Really loved it. I loved the character journey that we went on with this book. I just think it worked so well, so yeah. And then I did start reading Mislaid and Parts Half Known, and I got exactly halfway through. I am up to chapter 8, page 70, and I'm really loving this book. And I had to stop myself from finishing it. And the reason why I say that is because I really want to get better at doing some of my other hobbies as well, and I feel like this month I have done a really good job of just focusing in on one main book to read for the week, and it's been really nice because one, is giving me a chance with all the other videos that I've got ongoing, but where I've had, like, this is my days off, I have more time to read. I could definitely have finished this whole book in this vlog as well. I do want to make an active effort to read less this year, and I also want to make an effort to give myself time for my other hobbies, rather than feeling like, oh, I constantly need to read this book because I need to read it for a video and things like this, to just slow down. So I made myself stop. I could have easily finished it. There is another reason as to why I want to slow down my reading, and that is because by me stopping at the halfway point in this book and then coming to update you, it gives me time to reflect and process my thoughts on it. Whereas if I finished this whole book and then updated you at the end of it, my thoughts on it really wouldn't be as well formed. I don't personally think, because I find that happens. So like if I'm doing my relax and readathon and I finish a book in one day, that's fine. I stop to update you, and so it makes me have to think about what I'm reading, which I like. If I'm just sitting there and I don't update you and I just finish out a book in one go, I'm then not fully processing everything because I haven't taken a break to think about what I've just read. So for me, that's another reason why I want to read a little bit slower, because there were definitely books that I read last year, not all of them, but some where I read them so quickly and I didn't think about it. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying you have to analyse every single book you're reading and really think about how you feel and how you react to things, but as someone that is building a YouTube channel out of reviewing books, I want to make sure my reviews are a little bit more thought out, I guess. I mean, I don't script anything, and I guess if I scripted something that would automatically make me think about it a bit more, but I don't do that, as you can probably tell from all the rambly weird tangents that I go on. I just want to be able to sit with my thoughts about a book and go, okay, what do I like about this, what do I don't like about this, and do it like that. Sometimes you just want to read a book for fun, and that is all it is, and that is literally all it has to be, is this book was fun. But I do just want to try and, one, make an effort to slow down a bit, 2, give myself time to do my other hobbies, which I feel like I have not been able to do for a couple of months because I get into these weird situations of, oh my god, scrambling, I'm behind everything, oh my gosh, my TBR is massive this month, I really need to get into things, and I kind of like put pressure on myself. And again, this is all self-inflicted. Forcing myself to slow down is something I really want to do so that I can relax a bit more, do some other hobbies, process the things that I'm reading a bit better, and I have preferred it. I have preferred taking books slower this month, like my physical books that I'm reading. I've really enjoyed taking that slower this month, been really enjoyable. It's like, for example, last week, I don't have the ones with me actually, I read 3 volumes of Solo Leveling back to back. Pretty much. I read 1 and 2 back to back, the third one I read a little bit later. Can I distinguish what happens in these 3 different volumes? No. Now, I don't mind too much because I've been watching the anime, and this was literally just for pure fun because I just rewatched the first season with my partner and I was having fun. I just wanted to read it, I guess, and just still be immersed in that world. But could I tell you what happens in each individual volume? Not a chance, because again, I haven't had that time to think about and process what happened between each one before I went straight into the next one. I'm hoping that makes a bit of sense. Anyway, regardless, I made myself stop and I played some Animal Crossing, I did some yoga, I did a little bit of journaling, which is something that I've fallen off the bandwagon. Like, I haven't journaled in almost a month, which it was something I was really active at making sure I did every single day because I really like it. And then I just kind of fell off. So I just want to make time for those other hobbies, and it was lovely to do. But to this book, 70 pages read, love it. Absolutely love it. Now, this series, if you don't know about this series, it starts off with Every Heart a Doorway. It is the Wayward Children series. They are portal fantasies, and it kind of gives that question of what happens to the children that fell through to other worlds and then they come back home. So like Alice, what happened to her when she came back? Can she actually adjust? I love it. So it also does the timeline in a bit of an unusual way. So the second book in the series is actually a prequel to the first, and then the third book continues on from the first book, but the fourth book is a prequel, and the prequels follow different characters and you look at their different worlds and how they all fitted in. This one is a bit more unusual because it's a little bit of a prequel to the book we just had, but it's also continuing on from where it is, which I quite like. And we're also following a character called Antsy, which is a character we met in the 7th book, Lost in a Moment and Found. And I really liked this story. I thought it was very poignant. It handles a really dark topic, but I really, really enjoyed it. And now we're seeing Antsy back. Now, we did see Antsy for a little bit in the previous book because, as I say, this book follows a little bit before the previous book, which is Where the Drowned Girls Go, and then follows afterwards as well. I love this series, and reading this book made me want to reread the whole series. I just love it, especially because, I mean, Antsy brought it up actually really well, where Antsy was commenting on the fact that all of the characters that we've met before that all go to this school, because they all go to the same school, it's a school for wayward children, they have all of these like in-house jokes with one another about their different worlds and things like this, and you can tell the friendship there has really been built. And Antsy's like, I felt like a bit of an outsider because I have no clue what any of these jokes are, and it just made me go, oh, I kind of get it, because it's like I haven't read this series properly in such a long time. Like, the last book I read was last year, which was book 8. It's been a very long time since I read that first book, and I would love to just reread all of these. I mean, they're small, they're tiny little novellas. It wouldn't take me long to do. The characters, like, I love seeing the different worlds that they go to, the different things that each individual character is dealing with. Again, that sense of camaraderie and like the joking between them. Like, I would feel a bit more clued into it all. Like, I do know it, but also I haven't read them in such a long time. It's all a bit hazy. So it would be great to do all of that again. I loved this. I definitely want to reread this series. Where I've left it, we've now gone to somewhere, I think was a really good point to leave it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this today or whether it will be tomorrow. I don't know if I'm actually going to be reading much today, but I am so excited to continue. There are illustrations throughout these books, which I really like. I love this series. I really, really do. I just think it's so well done. They're just such easy bite-sized stories. They always have deeper meaning. I mean, some of them can be a bit hit you around the head with the meaning of like, don't put people into boxes, don't force your children to fit your criteria, like let them be their own people. So sometimes it can be a bit heavy-handed, but other times it can just be really nice. And to be fair, I don't mind that it's heavy-handed. They're really short books. You got to get your point across. I really like this series, is what I'm saying. So I'm very happy with this. But that brings us to the end of this video, and I would say at this point, oh, we're going to wrap up everything I've read, but I literally just did it. So I'm not going to go through the bingo board because we already talked through all of that in the last update, so I'm not going to repeat myself for you, but I'm really happy with it. I will be taking Mislaid in Parts Half Known into next week's vlog, so we know what we're going to be finishing off at first, and then we will do a roll and see if I can escape Paws and Bookshelves game board, which hopefully I can. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this week's reading vlog. Thank you so much for watching and listening to all of my rambles and tangents and things. I really, really appreciate it. And let me know, have you read either of these books? It was quite a good week for continuing on with series. I'm really pleased with that. I definitely need to work on continuing my series, which we know I've talked about a lot, but I'm really pleased with that. But yeah, you'll have to let me know, have you read either of these books? Do you have any other like cozy sci-fi that you enjoy? Because it's definitely something I want to read more of. I think we'll leave it there for now. So thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, let's put a robot in the comments below if you've made it this far or you just don't know what to comment. And thank you truly so much for watching, for each and every single one of you that takes the time to watch these videos, to comment, to interact. Like, I really appreciate it, so thank you so much. If you have enjoyed this video, then please do give it that thumbs up, subscribe and comment. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links and everyone I've mentioned will be linked below for you, and I was gonna say I'll catch you in the next video, but just realised I did want to talk about the fact that for Rainie's year-long challenge, this book fitted in well. We'll do that in the wrap-up. We'll go through that in the, I mean, that was my plan anyway, is at the end of each month in the wrap-ups to go through the year-long reading challenge that I'm taking part in, and if I manage to tick off anything, and then also we would go over the final bit for the bingo board for TBRathon. So we'll do that then. So I am gonna go, and I will catch you in the very next video.